All right, let us continue with the program. I'm happy to have you here. Next up we have Mikael and Adrian from University of Applied Sciences and Arts Northwestern Switzerland Services. And they're going to talk about this university website upgrade story. So, perfectly. Welcome.
Thank you.
Thanks.
And you just mentioned it, we are from the University of Applied Sciences and Arts Northwestern Switzerland. And that is a very long thing. We shorten it down to FHNW during this presentation. And yeah, in this presentation, we want to give you the story of our CMS upgrade project. And we really hope we can make it a thrilling ride for you with our ups and downs and joy and laughter, and hopefully no crying.
So, first of all, who are we? The FHNW is one of the leading universities of applied sciences in Switzerland. We have close to 14,000 students and 3,000 employees. 120 of which are working for the corporate IT there. And in our team, which is called Kreis Web, there are 10 people working. 5 of them are working for this project, or were working for this project, and 2 of them are now here. I'm Adrian Schulz, lead backend engineer, and Michael Perret, technical lead.
So, what did we do? On the left side, oh, is there a laser pointer? You see our website, how it was running from 2017 until April this year. And on the right side, you see our new site, running since April. Yeah, I mean, you can imagine this took quite a lot of work. Actually, some of you can imagine, as they were part of that. But yeah, let's start from the beginning of how we got there.
Well, the whole story started actually in the end of 2022. Our Plone 5 CMS was already running for 5 years, and it was time to start a process on how to set the future CMS. As a very first step, we asked our editors, are you happy with the system? You see here on the chart, these are the results. Everything is on a scale from 0, which is bad, to 9, which was good. And, well, the most important part here is just at the bottom, the overall happiness with our CMS. And it was at 4.1, not a really good value, I would say. So, at this point of time, probably nobody would have thought that Plone would be again our CMS.
Still, even though our editors were not, let's say, excited about the current Plone system, we thought it would be a good idea to look at Plone 6 first. Because, I mean, with Volto, there could be enough of a change to get them on board again. Maybe. So we got some time to work on a proof of concept. And yeah, in 2.5 months, we customized the shit out of Volto. We had no regard for clean code or breaking changes. We just customized it and committed to main. We even had some features in this proof of concept that we still don't have now in our production system. We had like stuff like device previews or image cropping, and we could even copy-paste 1 block at a time without selecting 2. Okay, good. Our effort was not in vain, because what we got out of all this was that, I quote, that Plone 6 is a viable candidate for the future of our website. Only one of many, though.
And so began the evaluation process. First, we had a long list of CMS, and this was broken down into a short list, which you see above. All of these technologies were on that short list. These are mostly CMSs which are used by other Swiss universities or had other things going for it. We had talks for each of them with possible partner development companies, and for some even with Swiss universities using them. And this was very interesting because actually nobody was thrilled by their CMS, but everybody was more or less content with their content management system. So I suggest we look at them one by one. Starting from the bottom here, typo 3. A true veteran in the CMS world. We appreciated the reliability or reliable history there, but user interface, well, it reminded us of Plone 5. Yeah, our editors didn't like that, so type 3 was not an option. Then we had Neos. Well, Neos had a very charming UI there. However, the technology underneath, well, it felt not established enough for our taste, to be honest. And we also preferred something more solid. Then Sidecar. Well, Sidecar really put on a show in the presentation. But, well, we thought the licensing fees, we would rather put them in the customizations we needed, because it was quite a lot. Especially because some key feature was missing. They hadn't any solution for forms. Then Magnolia. Magnolia is, the funny thing is that this company, the company behind Magnolia, is actually neighbor to one of our campuses. Well, this was also a very powerful and good package, but in the end we thought that Magnolia is only partly open source, was not good enough because we needed the flexibility. Magnolia was gone also. Then Drupal. Drupal in general impressed us with a good set of features and yeah, as a good tool, but we wanted a bit something more, well, straightforward to use out of the box. And also the underlying technology, again, we didn't like that much. And so there's Django CMS there. Well, another member of the Python family. And we already loved that. But in our team, we even had a lot of experience with Django in general, so we loved it even more. On the other hand, well, the editing part still felt a bit odd and not that good. So, Plone was the choice, again. Well, one big reason was, obviously, we knew Plone and were developing a lot with it. So, the experience was there from our side. And also, the most negative point from the editors, the UI was changed completely. With Volto, there was a new system, and actually we loved Volto. These were the advantages of Plone, and we chose it.
So we have decided to stay with Plone. Cool. Now, we had a very interesting strategy, how we made this CMS update project, and this is also why the site looks actually now the same as it did before, because our project management thought it would be less risky to separate a new design and a new content strategy on the one side and the technical upgrade of the CMS on the other side. We were at first not very happy with that decision, because it actually meant we need to build lots of stuff that will get thrown away a bit later, because the redesign is right after this project. We are actually now in it. Yeah, but still this decision was taken, we accepted it, but I think, yeah, we also underestimated some stuff, and yeah. About the estimations, at first we estimated around 600 days of works, and we have like 400 days that we estimated we can work in a year as a team on this project. So it meant this whole undertaking would take us 1.5 years. But the project management also decided in some ways that the go-live date is only 1 year from now. So that was a problem. But this is where our colleagues came in from.
Kit concept. Especially as our estimation was done without proper specification behind it, we knew we couldn't do this alone on ourselves, especially in the given time frame. This is the reason why we work closely together with Kit Concept. And without them, we probably wouldn't still be live with our website. They helped us very much in terms of consulting, building blocks, adding features, and even GitLab process management. And I think this is the moment to say a big thank you to them, as mostly it was not a very thankful work, I think. Still, even with all the experience and knowledge from Kit Concept behind us, well, our estimates didn't get any better. We still underestimated the load of work ahead of us, sometimes even by a lot.
Yeah, and why we underestimated this. With our colleagues from the business side, we developed a new data model. And yeah, new data model, it means we need to do a migration. And why did we need to do a new data model? I mean, first of all, the version jump, we wanted also to take advantage of that. I mean, now we work with Volto, so we can put some stuff in blocks, which were before in content types. And also we wanted to make the usability better. So we tried to streamline some processes and put more stuff into behaviors. No, such things. This was actually quite a complicated thing for us, and just FYI, we have made like a 7-step decision support if some field should live in a block or in a content type or in a behavior. It's too much to list now, but if you're interested in that, you can ask us. One big problem we had was that we didn't really have any specification for our current website. And this sucked especially because it meant we actually had to specify in some way the whole website that we already had again. With some changes, of course, but yeah, still, it was just a load of work. And of course, we tried to make certain changes for usability, etc. And so it just wasn't the same as before. And so our estimates, of course, were also very much wrong. And to give you some examples of what we did, on the right side of this slide, you see some specifications we made for some features. The first one is our teaser block, which we, of course, also customized a bit. We have like 3 different variations, and of course it displays different fields per content type, etc. Then we have our EduBox block, which is like, it displays data from study programs and links the user to the registration, or maybe to info events, or maybe if there are many dates to a separate block, and it has some crazy mobile mode. And you can imagine you need to specify all of this because, of course, even on our side, the developer didn't know anymore what was developed 6 years ago. Maybe he was also new. And we have the institutional repository block, which is also kind of a special block where we can like connect our institutional repository where all the written works of people are in. And so we can like display them on our page with many different citation style options. And of course, this needs to be very exact, etc. And like this issue was just like, whoa. And yeah, and these were only like just typical issues of which we had very many.
Let's look at our 3 biggest challenges, or big bets, as we call it on the slide. Migration. Well, our migration was a very long process because we developed about half a year, starting from August 2024 until February of this year. I actually know the date of the migration by heart because, well, who doesn't love migrating databases on Valentine's Day. We even loved it that much that we have a whole separate talk about it in the afternoon. You are invited to attend there. Then, second thing, forms. We used a lot of easy forms in the old system, and we still wanted the forms to be present with all the functionalities or the main functionalities, but this time it should be easy to use for the editor. So Michael made a crazy specification of about 15 issues, all of the same size we saw before. And then we gave it to Rob. Rob, did you have fun with it? Yes? Good. In short, we have custom mail templates. We have many new fields like fixed attachments. We have more customizable after submit options. It obviously needed to be in our design. We wanted the data to be saved in a whole different system, which was developed only for this sole reason. And in general, Michael could hold a talk just about the specification for about 20 minutes. But I hope Rob can give you an impression in his lightning talk in the afternoon. I'm thrilled to see it. And then, last but not least, search was also a big topic. We customized it a lot in our old system, where we built it in Mosaic with Svelte behind it. And now it needed to be transformed into Volta blocks and theme components in Volta. And I guess this was also quite complicated. And this was also a task we gave to Kit Concept. I hope Alok, are you here? Yeah, good fun as well. And Balázs was involved also.
So we actually already knew by the end of summer that we probably couldn't hold the go live in January. So a bit later, it was also agreed that we set the new date to March 2025. During the development, we were quite busy bees. Of course, we had averaged around 57 pull requests merged to main per month. And yeah, we were learning steadily. In the beginning of 2025, we even finally figured out how to use expanders. I myself was mostly busy with reviewing merge requests, doing blocks and form migrations, and just trying to keep an overview over what the hell was even going on, because there were like so many things coming in. And so from February 14th, as he mentioned, our editors were starting to work on the new system in parallel with the old one. And this is where our crunch time began. There we started to do weekly releases with changelogs. Back then, I thought we shouldn't deliver this many things in 1 week, as otherwise they might get used to that. And maybe you see here that like one is very small of the changelogs, and this was only because like in the week before our GitLab was hacked, and as we were mostly responsible for that too, we had to take care of that as well. Among many others who also helped us. And a more Plone example of what we needed to deal with during this time, like after we activated our auto-publish rechecked our own variation of auto-publishing, we figured out that actually the effective and expired dates are different in the Volta UI and in the classic UI. Yeah, and this didn't only affect, for us it didn't only affect effective and expired, but I also made the mistake and added some fields without necessary time zone information. And so there we also had a problem. But luckily, thank you David, we saw that there was a fix for that in the Plone 6.0 15 RC release candidate. Cool. So we updated to this version and did an upgrade step for the wrong dates on our side. And we did this on 27th of March. with the new go live on set for the 10th of April. Actually, they want to release it a bit earlier, but this was the end date. Changing Plone API versions or Plone versions so shortly before go live is surely a good idea, right? No gamble, no future, we say at the poker table. But unexpectedly after the update, some random things stopped working. Because another thing that was also in this release, and of course we didn't see it like it was in the changelog, of course, but we didn't notice it, was the handling for related fields also changed. Like it changed from path to UUIDs. Okay, not yeah, but actually we just needed to do another upgrade step, which updated all of our thousands of contact relations we had to the new way of doing things, and then everything worked out. We were very lucky. Because usually, I mean, this is exactly the kind of stuff that happens during crunch times, because we didn't factor in everything that could happen and just made it and pushed it out. But actually, in the end, I still think it wasn't a bad idea, because we just pushed everything to the editors as soon as we had it. And of course, they noticed a lot sooner than we would have noticed that something was wrong. So, and now we get even closer to our go live. So, also actually this was all happening at the same time. Also about 2 weeks before the go live, we wanted to make a penetration test. And so we did. And the results gave us the following feeling. We were quite surprised by that, as our old system worked quite good under load, or similar load that we simulated with the penetration test. So over the next couple of days, we did the following things. First, of course, we have thrown money at the problem. So we increased CPU and RAM. We now have 128 gigabytes of RAM and 32 CPU cores on our Plone server. This is only half as much as my Mac Studio at home. And we improved our rel storage and varnish configuration. We just made stuff cache longer and upped some numbers and tried to figure out what works and what doesn't. But one of the main things that we did, and this we actually also found very interesting, all our listing queries in Volto were working with post by default. And it really helped that there was an option. I think it was also Rob that did that at some point, to change the configuration of the listing blocks to work with get. And then suddenly our varnish could cache all these listing requests and stuff started to work. Because our page, maybe if you surf around it, it's practically consisting 90% out of listings. Yeah, after that, one internal mishap I also want to mention. Our virtual machine hard disk was in another city than the rest of the system. Oops. But yeah, we fixed that as well. And then we felt finally confident to go live. And it mostly worked out good, but we still had some spikes and some minor downtimes. But yeah, so we needed to continue the work actually. What we also figured out, but this is really mostly on us, Volto has, or even Plone has some nice image sizing options. And we also added the sizes in Volto, but there was like one thing we still needed to add. I think it's like the sizes attribute, where we actually say which size we use. And this also helped very much, because the people in our CMS, they like to upload like 15 megabyte JPEGs. And it's fine, you know, because we should deal with that. And yeah, after that, it started to work better. Also, of course, we improved load balancing and upped instances. But yeah, we are actually still working on the performance to this day. Because, you know, there is still some transaction logs, whatever, which we want to improve.
So, our presentation is slowly coming to an end. Let's look at the lessons learned, in my or our opinion. Well, first thing, funny thing. Well, we should have held a lessons learned meeting just after the big project. On the other side, you could argue we're still within the project as the redesign is approaching. In general, Plone and Volto is really flexible and good, but there are some little gaps just out of the box. Well, we address them with our customizations and so on. Then 2 things related to migration. Only do the same as before migration if you actually have the specs of before. This would make it quite easy. And don't wait too long until you get your editors on your system so they can test the migration, also the rest of the system. Then, well, the performance tests, maybe you should do them not 2 weeks before go live, but a bit earlier. Yeah, so you can react in a good time, right? And don't get into a hustle. And last thing, which is again not really Plone related, make sure that the connected services will still run with the system, because we had this funny thing with our Nginx configuration being changed, and well, another system had quite problems afterwards. So actually the go live from Plone side was very well, but we had really much to do on the offer service, which was not running anymore.
So let's look a bit into the future. Adrian just mentioned some gaps which we want to close with Volto, or what Volto still has, and many of them we try to do in this release. For example, one thing we also noticed, like right here at the conference, is that the date times that are displayed in Volto are like always in the local time. And this can be extremely confusing. And it is not only confusing for us, actually we heard of this problem because somebody told us that their ChatGPT tells us different times for the info events, San Francisco time. So it was like a very big difference. Otherwise, we also worked on copy-pasting stuff, because right now, I'm actually not sure if in the newest Volto versions this is already fixed. We maybe missed that. That if you copy like listings from Word, it creates like for each listing element, it creates one block, and this is like not very usable for the editors. We fixed that, and we can now also insert table content into tables. And yeah, it seems the process of how our editors work has a lot to do with Word and copy it over, and so we just try to make them happy. Also, and it's really sad that Balázs isn't here, because he was mostly responsible for a redesigned object browser, because we also had like some bad usability feedback about how the object browser works when you select images or other pages or just related objects. And yeah, quite a lot of work was done there. And we also made some smaller improvements, like we actually thought the good way to do stuff in Plone would be use language-independent fields if you want to have stuff not change between translations. But we thought, yeah, it could still be helpful for the editor to just have some stuff filled in on their content type after they do a translation. And so we made an addition there which just does that. Also, we have now tables with some predefined column widths, and we also made some changes of how files and images are handled when you click on them. So they are opened directly or in a new tab or downloaded or whatever, depending on what we want. And yeah, that's like the next release, which will release next Monday. Like the first feedback was actually good from our testing guys, so that's cool. And then we already jump into the redesign project, and now that's the thing, because we didn't really change anything like on the page. Now we still need to do the whole redesign stuff, and yeah, The good thing is this time we don't do a full migration. We try to achieve everything with upgrade steps. But yeah, it will feature totally new content types, new design, and yeah, some nice generalizations. And maybe one thing we do here, and I think actually it's good, even though it's a strain on our editors, and I'm sorry for that, but they will work 4 months in parallel on the new and the old system. But it will also give us 4 months to really fix stuff. And yeah, I think that's already it. Do you have any questions? And thank you.
Thank you, guys. Really interesting presentation, because at the university we have had similar kind of things. So we are looking for questions. Here we go. There's a mic.
Okay, so you mentioned like lots of CMS when you are going through like choosing one. Do you base that on criteria, like certain criteria in your like, since you are changing the whole things, so we will not consider like our old system, what it is providing, but we also need to check this on these criteria and then make the decision instead of like, since we are using this, we are familiar, just try this new thing which is there and make it compatible?
I'm now actually not sure I understood the question.
The question is like, do you define the criteria in choosing all the CMS onto the same parameter instead of the underlying Plone CMS, since you use that?
I think now I'm getting it. Like we had a whole matrix of like different stuff in which we compared the different CMSs, and like in some, for example, backend technology, like some were 5 and some were 2 and whatever, and we made a whole, like it was a very long process actually, this evaluation. Was that the?
Yeah.
Okay.
So if you can share those, like maybe not like a case study, like on which parameter the Plone has like done the good work, that will be, I think, will be.
Maybe I will probably need to ask our communications about it if we can just give that out.
Yeah, I'm not like wanted to share like everything, like just onto the parameters, like, hey, Django CMS doesn't work on this, but Plone CMS, like, we choose this because of this criteria or something like that.
Yeah, I'm sure this would be interesting. This is why we mentioned it a bit.
All right, thank you. Really interesting question. I have the same question, but let's.
Thank you. Did you made such a poll or such a evaluation after your migration, or not?
Not
In
yet.
comparison with your chart, it was. I think it was very interesting, because I would say we have the same kind of answers in our customer group. So it was very interesting, and I'm interested in if you did a small poll or a small survey or a small reaction evaluation.
Not yet.
Not yet. Yeah. Okay.
Well, it's too early for that, right? We have the redesign coming, and then the system will be established probably in 1.5.
And first reactions you got from your clients?
Ooh, yeah, I would say they were still mixed.
Okay.
Yeah, like, because there is of course good and there is bad. Like with the simplicity, there maybe some things were too simple. As the object browser, I would say we made it now a bit more complicated again to offer more features.
Nothing is sexier than old software.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Hi, thank you. Yes, very interesting, and I love the way you did the comparison of the the different CMSs with specific features and benefits and so on. That is extremely useful for our community, I think. A lot of people having that thought process, and the way you've summarized it, I think will make a very nice clip that we will be able to use a few times with your permission. Well, it's our content now as well. I have a question about the 4 months of parallel editing. I think that would be a huge hurdle for a lot of people, because you don't have a single source of truth, and inevitably, when we're busy, never mind the fact that we don't want to recreate new passwords, we don't want to do things twice. And whenever you do something twice, you inevitably make a mistake. Is there something that you've put in place to make it a little bit easier for them, that they, I don't know, post it in one place and it goes live on both?
Actually, that's why we try to put in as many things that should make editing easier for the editors, like with the copy-pasting from Word, etc. But you're right, it will still be a strain, and I don't envy them for this.
How about a party for them at the end of the 4 months?
This is actually something we planned, yes. And maybe I also want to mention... now I'm not sure anymore.
One more question. Did you ever think of not migrating, but starting from the scratch with the content? Was that an option?
For us, it wasn't. Because as I said, in some way they wanted to have the same as before. And just later it came out a bit that actually some changes here, some changes there, and make that a bit different. So no, they wanted all the content. It was thought about now for the redesign, actually, hey, maybe we should start from zero, because now also the content strategy changed. And this is maybe also why they need those 4 months, because they actually need to build new content for the new content design.
All right. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.